Hey everyone, this is Gaurav. Welcome to my learning channel. So in today's video, we'll learn about data distribution. Now this topic would be divided in three main parts. First part, which is today's video, will cover the basics of distribution, followed by its types. Second part of the topic would be a set of videos on probability. Here we will cover what is probability, how to calculate it, various theorems associated with it, and some real life examples. And third and the last part will be an in-depth study of various different type of distributions like Gaussian, Bernoulli, binomial, etc., etc., and etc. So without any further delay, let's dive into today's topic. All right, so let's take a look at the dictionary definition of a distribution. A distribution is simply a collection of data or scores on a variable. Now, usually these scores are arranged in the order from smallest to largest, and then they can be represented graphically. Now, this is something that I got from a book called Statistics in Plain English. So let's take a simple example to better understand this. Let's say you conduct a simple experiment where you gather 1,000 odd people, and then you measure their heights, and then you put it on a graph. So let's say the graph would look something like this. So on x-axis, we have heights of different people. On y-axis, we have number of such people. Now, as you can say that in this particular instance, it follows a bell curve, but usually this is how a distribution will look like. So with that, let's try to understand what is a frequency and probability distribution. Now let's say that you conduct another experiment with a dice. So a dice has 6 different faces. It's marked 1 through 6. So if you have a fair dice, then the number of times the 1s and 2s and all the way to 6 should be equal. So let's say you are conducting this experiment with a dice and you throw the dice 88 times, and then you're jotting down only the face, which is the top of the dice, and then you plot it in a graph. So on y-axis, you have number of time. A particular number has come, and on x-axis you have 6 different categories, which is corresponding to those 6 faces. Now, as you can see that 1 came 14 times, 2 came 15 times, and so on. Now you might actually say that looking at this distribution, it looks like 5 came 16 times and 3 and 1 came only 14 times. So this is not a fair dice. So this is what happens if you have a limited number of data points. If you conduct this experiment infinite number of times, then you will realize that size of each bin is going to be exactly equal. So coming back to the point, this is how your frequency distribution will look like, where on x-axis you will have different bins, and on y-axis you will have number of data points corresponding to that particular bin. Now on the right hand side, you have a probability distribution, looks fairly similar to what you have for frequency distribution. The only difference being that on y-axis, rather than number of instances, you will have a probability for that particular instance. Now, if you don't know what a probability is, just take a look at a few of the videos that will come right after this. But overall, probability is what is a likelihood that a particular event can happen. So in this case, given the fact that all of the 6 bins have the equal likelihood, that's why the probability is 16.6%, which is equal for each one of the category. So hopefully this gives you a good idea about frequency and probability distribution. It's important to understand these things very well, because these both frequency and probability distribution will be used multiple times in our coming videos. Then let's take a look at types of distribution. So there are 6 main types of distribution. There is a 7th type as well, but for the most part, you can assume that these 6 basically covers everything. So you have uniform distribution, you have binomial distribution, and then it goes all the way up until Poisson distribution. Now in today's video, we are not going to dive into the details of these distribution, because in order for us to fully understand this, we need to understand a little bit of probability. So in next 2 to 3 videos, first of all, we will try to establish some of the foundation of probability, and then afterwards we'll come back to the types of distribution and we will dive into the details of each one of these types of distribution. So that's all for today. Thank you so much and have a happy learning.